Good morning, Mr. White. Are you ready? Good morning, Mr. White. Can you see and hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right. Are you ready? I believe I have a few of your clients already in the waiting room.
That's good.
Is there any certain order you'd like to call your clients today?
No, sir, whatever the court wants to do.
Okay. I'm just going to look and see. I'm going to bring in Mr. Downs. All right. Good morning, Mr. Downs. Can you see and hear me okay? If you can, just raise your hand. All right, there we go. Mr. Downs says, for the record, has raised his hands, and you can unmute yourself, Mr. Downs, if you want to say something. This is cause number CR 2210, State versus Joel Hinton Downs. We're set for pretrial today, Mr. White. Any contested pretrial motions?
At this time, I don't have anything. No, sir.
Do you have all of your discovery, and are you comfortable at this point announcing ready for docket call?
Really, Judge, I'd like just to probably one more setting, if that's okay. I don't anticipate any pretrial matters. I talked with Mr. Woodwhack a little bit about this yesterday. I had a couple of concerns about a few things. I don't need a bunch of time.
Are they discovery related things, or it's just negotiation?
Possibly discovery related. Without going too much into the facts, I have some questions as to why some things were done a certain way.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, since there's no pretrial motions filed today, I'm going to go ahead and set you for docket call. And
That'll work.
if something comes up, you can file your motion, and we can have a hearing on whether or not we have any contested pretrial hearings. So I'm going to go ahead and set you. Are you available? Today is February 9th. Are you available on March 11th?
No, sir. I have a doctor's appointment that day.
Okay, what about March 23rd?
Yes, sir. I'll be available that day.
All right, Mr. Downs, I'm going to set you for docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. This will be the only notice that you receive from the court here in open court. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Downs. You're free to go.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. White, let's see here. I know Mr. Kohler is here. Let's bring him in. All right, Mr. Kohler, if you can see and hear the court, just raise your right hand. All right, Mr. Kohler has raised his right hand, and we are appearing on Zoom. Mr. White, this is CR 2172, State versus Dylan J. Kohler, and we're set for docket call today. Any announcements?
Your Honor, I talked with Mr. Woodwhack yesterday on this, and I think there's a pretty good possibility we're going to work this out. There's a restitution issue that we're trying to deal with. It's not an insignificant amount of money. And so, I think there's going to be a further negotiation on that number.
Okay.
About how to deal with it.
All right. So if I set you for an additional docket call on the 23rd, feel like you may have it worked out by then?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Mr. Kohler, the court set you for a docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. This will be the only notice that you receive from the court. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kohler. You are free to go. Make sure that you're continuing to check in with your pretrial release officer and do any of the other things the court's ordered you to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're free to go. All right, I want to try to bring in Mr. Ringgold. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in a few of your comments, Mr. White, as they're in the waiting room. Mr. Ringgold, your video is muted. Your video is turned off. There you go. Can you unmute yourself as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Ringgold. This is cause number CR 2356, State versus Michael Thomas Ringgold, and we're set for pretrial today, Mr. White. Any announcements?
I don't have anything that's going to be contested on this, Your Honor. Let's set it for docket call.
All right. Court sets Mr. Ringgold for docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. Mr. Ringgold, do you understand that's when you're ordered to reappear via Zoom and will appear on the same Zoom number?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Ringgold, you're free to go. We'll see you back on March 23rd at 9 a.m.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Romero, this is cause number CR 2309, State versus Gabriel Thomas Romero. And Mr. Romero's set for docket call today, Mr. White.
Your Honor, at this time, I talked with Mr. Woodwhack yesterday about this. We're still trying to work this case out or get an offer that we both can kind of talk about. Mr. Woodwhack had indicated to me that he needed to do some additional talking. I think this case had been Mr. Cox's case, and Mr. Woodwhack inherited it. So he was wanting to do some additional looking around on some things that we had talked about. I think we're going to ask the court to reset it for docket call.
You agree, Mr. Woodwhack? You're shaking.
Judge, that's my understanding as well. We would join in asking for a reset to another docket call setting.
Okay. Court sets Mr. then for docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. Mr. Romero, you understand everything that your attorney has said and what the court's ordered? And you're muted, sir. I'm gonna ask you to unmute.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Romero, March 23rd, same Zoom number. All right. You'll log in that day, stay in contact with your attorney, and make sure that you're reporting on pretrial release. All
Yes, Your
right.
Honor.
All right. You're free
Thank
to go. You're welcome. You're
All right.
free to go. All right, Mr. Slagle, if you can unmute your device. Court's going to call cause number CR 2366, State versus Bobby Olin Slagle. Mr. Slagle, I'm going to prompt you there. There you go. Mr. Slagle,
Okay.
can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you see your attorney, Mr. White?
I see you.
Okay. Well, if you swipe left or right on your phone, you'll see additional participants in this hearing. And Mr. White is here. Mr. White, Mr. Slagle set for pretrial. Any announcements?
We don't have anything that's contested, Your Honor.
Okay. Court sets Mr. Slagle for docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. under this same Zoom ID number. Mr. Slagle, do you understand? Court's ordered you to reappear via Zoom on March 23rd.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. You're free to go, Mr. Slagle. Make sure you stay in contact with your attorney and your pretrial release officer.
Okay.
All right. You're free to go.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll try to bring in Mr. Soto. Is it Eulatio? Mr. Soto, can you see and hear me? If you can, raise your right hand. All right, looks like Mr. Soto is trying to get connected. Mr. Mahoney, can you see and hear me okay? Seems like neither one of these have audio, Mr. White. So I doubt they can hear me. Looks like Mr. Soto's getting closer though. He's connecting audio now. All right, we're really close. Go with Mr. Soto. Mr. Soto, I've prompted you to unmute. There, very good, sir. All right, Mr. Soto, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Soto, we are in court, and if you're on your phone or other device, you may have to move left or right to see participants in this hearing, including your attorney, Mr. White, who's present in the courtroom with us. Mr. White, this is cause number CR 2369, State versus Eulacio Jason Soto, and we're set for pretrial today. Any announcements?
Your Honor, we don't have any contested motions. I will note to the court, I think that this case, there's a likelihood it'll work out. One of the things we're trying to get to the state is some military records. And I think if we just reset it for the 23rd for docket call, that should or hopefully will give us enough time. But I wanted to make the court aware, as I know the court understands, that getting some of those records under the best of circumstances is sometimes difficult with the current state of affairs. It's become a little bit more difficult than it usually is.
Okay. Any objection from the state? All right. Court will set Mr. Soto then for docket call on March 23rd at 9 a.m. And Mr. Soto will use the same Zoom ID number. And you're ordered to reappear via Zoom at 9 a.m. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. And this will be the only notice that you get. So if you lose that number, you'll need to contact your attorney or contact the court. All right. So you're free to go.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to call Mr. Mahoney, cause number CR 2296 and 97, State versus Simon Lee Mahoney. I show that he is set for docket call in each case, Mr. White.
Your Honor, at this time, we're not ready. Mr. Woodwhack and I had talked about this case yesterday some, and about a possible resolution. I've of course got to present that to my client, and then I would think that there might be some going back and forth on it, hopefully. And so I'm going to ask for another docket call.
Any objection from the state?
Judge, our first conversation regarding this case was yesterday. Again, this was a Mr. Cox case. So I would join him in asking for a reset to a later date so we can attempt to negotiate this case.
All right, the court will set this for an additional docket call on March 23rd. And the court will expect that the state and defense to be up to speed with each other on that date for Mr. Mahoney. So Mr. Mahoney, the court's going to reset you for March 23rd at 9 a.m. You're ordered to reappear via Zoom, and we'll use the same Zoom number. Ordering you to stay in contact with your attorney and your pretrial release officer. Do you understand, sir? If you do, just raise your hand. All right, record will reflect that Mr. Mahoney has raised his hand. All right, Mr. Mahoney, March 23rd at 9 a.m. via Zoom. You're free to go. You see if Mr. Green is in the. Do you know if Mr. Green is logged in at all, Mr. White? I have a couple unknown devices named Stormy's iPad, an iPad, a Phoenix 5, an iPhone. Do you know if he's any of those?
No, sir, I don't. I know I had talked to him several times. So I have no doubt that he was going to be in that. I don't know that he knew how to do this.
rather than me just pulling them all in, would you mind just giving them a call and finding out if he is logged in, and then find
Not
out
at all.
in, and then I can recall him. I'm going to go ahead and move on to
Yes, sir.
Ms. Thompson's phone. Good morning, Ms. Thompson. How are you?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. I'm going to attempt to bring Mr. Williams in.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, he's in jail.
Justin Wayne Williams?
No, he's not in jail, Your Honor. Correction.
That's the nicest jail cell I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's not in correct. It's a plea this morning, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Williams, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. All right, this is cause number CR 2276, State versus Justin Wayne Williams. And Mr. Williams, if you can't see your attorney, you may have to swipe left or right to see Ms. Thompson, who's present in this hearing with us. Ms. Thompson, separate docket call today. Did you indicate that Mr. Williams is entering a plea today?
Yes, sir. We turned in the plea papers on the 5th.
Okay, and have those been delivered to the court?
I don't know whether they've been delivered to court. They were hand delivered to the DA's office.
Judge, these were placed on my desk. I didn't realize that's what we were doing. I have the originals of the plea paperwork. I didn't realize they needed to be sent to the court. They were stacked on my desk. No one ever really notified me. I just saw that they were here. I thought it was a copy. I didn't look at them.
All right, and can you have someone just run those over to the court? Or if you want to, if Mr. Williams has already been fingerprinted and you have those, if you just want to, you can dictate the plea to me and we'll enter it.
Judge, it has been fingerprinted by Mr. Williams. I would be comfortable with dictating the plea terms to the court.
Okay, go ahead.
It is a finding of guilt shall be deferred, punishment be assessed at 2 years community supervision, a fine of $1,000, $180 restitution, court costs of $290, reimbursement fees of $535. It is a state jail felony, possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram.
Taken into consideration?
Judge, I do not believe there are any other cases.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Thompson, has Mr. Williams had an opportunity to go over his conditions of probation? Have you reviewed those with him?
Yeah, I have not reviewed the conditions of probation with him, no.
Have you talked to him about what the standard conditions are?
Yes, sir, I did. We met, and I did talk to him about that in the plea deal.
Okay. All right, Mr. Williams, I'm going to have you raise your right hand so that I can place you under oath. Williams, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you may put your hand down. Mr. Williams, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, I am.
Do you read, write, and speak English?
Yes.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
No.
In this case, you're represented by your attorney, Miss Ann Thompson. Are you pleased with her representation of you?
Yes.
Do you feel like you've had enough time to talk with her about your case and have all of your legal questions answered?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Is there anything about the plea agreement that you do not understand?
I fully understand it.
Okay. And Ms. Thompson, do you believe your client to be competent today?
He is, Your Honor.
And you've explained to him his legal and constitutional rights and also the advantages and disadvantages of a deferred adjudication plea?
I did.
All right, Mr. Williams, you are charged by indictment with a state jail felony offense, specifically possession of controlled substance in penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. That offense carries a range of punishment of confinement in the state jail prison for a period of not less than 6 months or more than 2 years. That means, Mr. Williams, if the court approves this probation plea today and later you are found to have violated any term and condition of your probation, the court could revoke your probation and could put you in prison anywhere between 6 months up to 2 years. You understand that full range of punishment?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and the court could also impose a fine not to exceed $10,000. You understand?
Yes.
And you understand that what the state is telling the court today is that they're going to recommend that the court not convict you today, but to review the evidence and then place you on probation for a period of 2 years. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
It is.
Okay. All right. So at this time, Mr. Williams, I'm going to ask you, how do you plead to possessing a controlled substance in penalty group 1 less than 1 gram?
Guilty. Right.
Okay. And Mr. Williams, are you pleading guilty of that offense because you are guilty of committing that offense and for no other reason?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Williams, has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty to this offense?
No, they have not.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Court accepts the defendant's plea of guilt at this time, and the court takes judicial notice of his judicial confession. Ms. Thompson, is there any objection to States 1, the stipulation of evidence?
No, Your Honor.
All right. State's Exhibit 1 is admitted into evidence. Mr. Williams, one other question I had for you. Your name as it appears throughout the plea agreement, is that your true and correct signature? And did you only sign the documents once you understood what they said?
That's correct.
Okay. And at this time, is there anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense, Ms. Thompson?
None, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Woodwhite, can you give me a brief summation of the facts that support the plea?
Yes, Your Honor. On or about 5/17/2020, DPS pulled the defendant over for failing to drive in a single lane. They conducted a traffic stop. The defendant was slightly nervous, was pulled out of the vehicle. They performed standardized field sobriety testing. He was found to be not intoxicated, but during the pat down for officer safety, they felt a pill bottle in his pocket. He claimed that it was empty. The officer found that was odd, asked him to take it out of his pocket. He agreed and handed him the bottle, which had a baggie of what it turned out to be crystal meth inside.
All right, thank you, Mr. Woodwhite. Ms. Thompson, any objection to that summation?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
All right. Based on the evidence presented to the court will find that there is sufficient evidence to convict Mr. Williams of this offense. However, the court will defer a finding of guilt. The court will follow the plea agreement in this case. The court hereby places Mr. Williams on 2 years deferred adjudication community supervision. This is a $1,000 fine, $180 restitution, $290 court costs. It orders Mr. Williams to pay $535 reimbursement to Van Zandt County. Mr. Williams, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Community Supervision and Corrections Department so they can carry out the terms and conditions of your sentence. I need you to report. I'm ordering you to report to the Van Zandt County Probation Department today before. So if you can report before 4 p.m., then the probation department will process you in and give you additional information, okay?
Before 4 p.m. today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you live locally?
No, I live in Garland, close to Dallas.
If you can't make it today before 4 p.m., Mr. Williams, the court will allow you to appear as late as tomorrow before noon, okay? I would prefer you try to do it today. If you can't do it today, then make arrangements to be there tomorrow before noon.
If I'm unable to make it today, who do I need to contact? Do I need to contact them today to let them know that today, that I'll be there tomorrow if I can't?
It doesn't matter.
I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right.
And I appreciate that. If they're not going to find you in violation if you don't appear today. So if you can make it today, just show up at the office there today. And their address is 250 East Groves, 250 East Groves Street in Canton. And it's
I believe I've been in there.
okay, 2 blocks north of the courthouse.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you can't make it today by 4, then make sure you're there before noon tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Good luck,
Williams.
Justin.
Thanks a lot.
All right, free to go.
Thank you.
Judge, I will have these plea paperwork couriered to you in due course.
Okay. All right, give me just one moment. Ms. Thompson, I'm looking for Mary Dean. I don't see a Mary Dean logged in at all. Have you been in contact with Ms. Dean?
Your Honor, we've been playing phone tag. I did speak with her paramour yesterday. He said he would tell her she needed to be in court, but they were having some sort of difficulty getting in through on the phone or by video.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna wait until I see her logged in, and then as soon as I see her, I'll pull her in, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stevens, Bill Stevens. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Let's see, your client is Candace Smith. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I believe that I saw Miss Smith. Have you been in contact with her? Do you know if she's logged in this morning? I don't see her.
Your Honor, I don't know. I know my office didn't reach her yesterday. We tried to call her, but the mailbox is full. So, Your Honor, I don't know if she's logged in or not.
Okay. Well, will you continue to try to call her and give me an update here in just a moment? I'm going to move on and take a few other cases.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Sanders. Do you have any clients with you this morning?
Judge, I think Mr. O'Brien should be appearing by Zoom. I think he's logged in. And Judge, I'm trying to get a hold of Mr. Key because I don't think I'm here at the courthouse. I don't think he's here, or at least not yet. So I'm trying to contact him and his mom.
Okay. All right. Mr. O'Brien's getting connected, it seems. Mr. O'Brien, can you hear me? This is Judge Chris Martin. Mr. O'Brien, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm going to prompt you to start your video. You should see a prompt that comes up that says start the video. So I need you to click that. There you go. Let's give it just a moment. There we go. All right, Mr. O'Brien, can you see and hear? Well, keep on leaving. Let's try this again. All right. Hold what you got. That's good. Don't touch anything. Can you see?
Okay.
Okay? Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Sanders, I don't know if you can see him, but he's present in our hearing at this time. And this is cause number CR 20-301, State versus James Brian O'Brien. And we're set for docket call today, Mr. Sanders.
Yes, Your Honor. And Judge, I think we should be able to get a plea worked out on the case. I was going to see if we could reset it for one more docket call. Should be able to do the plea at the next hearing in maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what the court's schedule is like.
All right. So y'all have reached a plea agreement?
Judge, I think we're pretty close. I still need to talk to the state about a couple of things but with their offer, but yeah, I think we'll be able to get this resolved.
All right. So I'm not going to set it for plea if y'all don't have a firm plea in place. I'll set it for an additional docket call unless there's an objection from the state.
No, Your Honor, our discussions have thus far been fruitful. I have no doubt we can work it out, but I would set it for a docket call at this time.
Mr. Sanders, are you available on March 11th?
And yes, Judge, that'd be fine.
Did you know when you're coming back over here, if there's a date that's more convenient for you that I've already set you on that you're aware of?
No, I think I have one in a couple of weeks on the 18th of this month, but and actually I think that'd probably be fine even if we wanted to set it then.
Just a moment. Let me see what my docket looks like that day as far as volume. Yes, we've got room on the 18th. You want me to set it that date?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, Mr. O'Brien, the court's going to set you for an additional docket call. And that's only going to be a couple of weeks. That's actually going to be a week from this Thursday on February 18th. Okay. So I believe that we'll be using the same Zoom number. If not, that'll be communicated to you through Mr. Sanders. And if Mr. Sanders doesn't have that number, you can always contact the court and get that number. So on February 18th, you're going to enter your plea before the court. So Mr. Sanders will be in contact with you about getting plea paperwork signed. And if you have to appear, then you'll let Mr. Sanders know, and Mr. Sanders, you'll let us know.
And Judge, as far as that goes, if we're doing a plea, then would house, but still appearing by Zoom? Or I wasn't sure how we would need to do that.
If Mr. O'Brien needs to plea out and the paperwork to be fingered, he can appear at the courthouse. We can execute the paperwork, and we can still conduct it via Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
But he could appear at the courthouse.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right, Mr. O'Brien, we'll see you back on February 18th.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, Mr. Sanders, I still don't see your other client. Mr. Weiner, I know you were there at one time. Are you still there?
I am, Judge.
Mr. Pritchett, is he by chance with you? I don't see him logged in. Do you have any information for me?
I believe Stormy is his sister, and I believe that Stormy's iPad that you referenced earlier, my guess would be that that's my client.
Okay, let's bring him in and see.
And I'm in park, I'm not driving.
Is that Mr. Pritchett?
He's not, I'm on my phone, so I don't see.
You have to move, you may have to move left or right. I believe that is Mr. Pritchett, can you raise your hand for me?
Yes, that is him. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Pritchett, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm going to prompt you at this time. You'll just unmute your device.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchett. I
Did it work?
appreciate it. Mr. Weiner, this is cause number CR
Yes, sir.
19153, State versus Christian, Cecil Pritchett. And this is a hearing on his motion to revoke.
Yes, Your Honor. This was a case that Mr. Cox was handling. The last update I had was the kind of the crux of the motion was a new offense, and that the state had not received that case from law enforcement yet. I'm not sure if they've received it since the last setting, but that was my understanding, Judge.
State, do you have anything on Mr. Pritchett's case?
Judge, let me pull it up.
I know Mr. Cox had requested it multiple times, and I think because of some delay from law enforcement, that's why my client was able to make bail. I believe he got a PR bond eventually, but I don't know that it's been turned over yet.
Judge, it appears that Mr. Woodbike is in the case, so I can't see, so I will defer to him.
Judge, it does not appear as though we have received a copy of that police report at this time.
I just asked that we reset it until the state can get their hands on. I know they've been diligent in requesting it, so.
Are there any other violations alleged in the motion, or is this the sole violation?
Judge, there are a few other technical violations, but I think the main thrust of this MTA is the new violation.
Does the state join the defense in requesting reset?
Judge, we would this time, so I can make inquiries myself. I know Mr. Cox, there are notes that he has requested and we have not received it that I can tell. I would ask that I be able to do so as well.
Mr. Weiner, are you available on March 11th?
Let me see, Judge. I am. I actually have something set at 9 o'clock in your court. That'd be a great date for me.
Excellent. All right. Mr. Pritchett, the court's going to set you for another hearing on your motion to revoke on March 11th at 9 a.m. And this will be the only notice that you receive from the court. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Make sure that you're staying in compliance with your community supervision and make sure that you're reporting. Just because there's a motion to revoke doesn't mean that you're not still on probation. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pritchett, you're free to go. We'll see you back on March 11th at 9 a.m.
All right. All right.
Mr. Weiner, is that all you have today?
Yes, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you. Appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
Mr. White, do you have any additional information for the court? You're on mute, Mr. White.
Your Honor, we've been in contact with Mr. Green. I believe he's in the waiting room.
Okay. So do you know if he's logged in by his name?
We told him to try to get that fixed.
Good. I think he did. I think I have him here. Let's bring him. I'm going to ask him to start his video and ask him to unmute.
Let me turn my light on.
All right, good. Mr. Green, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right. This is cause number CR 2303, State versus Colton Castle Green. We're set for docket call today. And Mr. Green, if you can't see your attorney, you may have to move left or right on your device. Mr. White is present in our hearing. Mr. White, any docket call?
Your Honor, we have got an agreement on this, so we just need it reset so we can get that done.
All right. You want to set for plea on March 23rd?
That'll be fine, Your Honor.
All right. Court sets Mr. Green for plea on March 23rd at 9 a.m. Mr. Green, to appear before the court on that day, Mr. White will be in contact with you regarding your plea agreement and getting the paperwork executed before that date. So March 23rd at 9 a.m. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Green. You're free to go.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Mr. White, anything further? I believe that's all your clients for today.
Until this afternoon, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. White. Appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
And Ms. Thompson and Mr. Stevens, if you have any additional information, feel free to just speak up and let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of keep on moving along, okay?
Your Honor, this is Bill. I tried to call Miss Smith again. It was the same as yesterday and the day before, or as last week. I get her voicemail, but then it's filled, so I can't leave them.
It says what? You get her voicemail and it says,
I get her, yes, sir. I get her voicemail. However, I get a message after that saying the voicemail is full.
all right. So you haven't had any contact with her that she intends to appear today?
Correct, Your Honor. No contact.
And is there, before we go, I do see a Candace Munoz, but that's a different client. Okay, I wanted to make sure it wasn't a different Candace, but. All right, so the court has notified Ms. Smith to be here, Candace Kaylin Smith, and she's failed to appear. The court will wait and call her name again at the close of the docket this morning. And I may even call it again this afternoon. So, Mr. Stevens, if you make contact with her and she can appear either later this morning or this afternoon, if you'll just contact Ms. Taperham and let her know, then we'll conduct the arraignment. If she doesn't, then the court's going to enter a judgment nisi and alias capias.
I understand, Judge. I'll continue trying to get her.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. You're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is Ms. Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
I have spoken with Ms. Dean briefly. She keeps hanging up. She's having difficulty getting on. She can't get on the video, and I give her the phone number to call in, and apparently she's not getting that either. So,
do you know what her?
I
Do
was
you know
going
what?
to ask.
Do you know what her phone number is by chance? I do have a phone number logged in. Do you know what her phone number is by chance? Maybe the last three digits.
Yes, sir. She's calling. Hang on, Your Honor, one moment. I've got two numbers for her, Your Honor. Ditches, last four digits on one is 4479,
Okay. What's the other one?
and the other phone number she called from is 3832.
Let's try this one. Miss Dean, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dean. This is Judge Chris Martin, and we are in court, and I have your attorney, Ms. Thompson, here with me, and I also have the prosecutors, and we're going to go ahead and conduct your hearing today. This is cause number CR 20288, State versus Mary Louise Dean, and we're set for a docket call. Ms. Thompson, go ahead.
Your Honor, I was going to ask for another setting. I've been playing phone tag with Ms. Dean for some time. There's been an offer made by the state that I've not had a chance to discuss with her. And this is the only contact information I have from her. I don't have an address or anything of that nature. I would ask for one more setting, Your Honor.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Are you available on either March 11th or March 23rd, Ms. Thompson?
Let me check right quick, Your Honor. I am available on March the 11th, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Dean, the court's going to reset you for court on March 11th at 9 a.m. for docket call. So I want you to stay in contact with Ms. Thompson, and I want you to give her an updated address, and you'll need to appear via Zoom again that day, so you may need to call in. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, stay in contact with Ms. Thompson and let her walk you through this process, okay?
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, you're welcome. We'll see you back on March 11th.
Ms. Dean, give me a call, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Dean, you're free to go.
Thank you.
All right, does that conclude your business, Ms. Thompson?
It does, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have anything this afternoon?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Mr. Sanders, I'll be back in just a moment. I need to talk with the state on a logistical issue real quick, okay?
Okay, Judge. And I think Mr. Key is on his way to court from word I've gotten. So
Okay, good. Thank
hopefully
you.
it won't be too much longer.
Okay, thanks. State, I'm going to set up a breakout room real quick. I'm going to ask you to join me.
Okay, we're gonna do this.
Sean Cooks has conditions in. Are any of the four that need an attorney logged on?
Uh-huh. I haven't got the state. Are they still in their?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, Mr. Mata, just a moment, please.
Okay.
We're trying to get the state back on the Zoom, so just a moment.
We're here. We just had our cameras off.
Oh, okay. Okay, we have Christopher Mata. Mr. Mata, I am Patty Taberham, the criminal court coordinator. Judge Martin has been called away for a few minutes, so we're going to continue on. Have you hired an attorney?
Well, I've spoken with Nolan White, and he told me I had to come up with half of the money, and I don't have half yet, but I got like, well, I think close to half of it.
Okay, so more time do you need?
I don't even know. I mean, me and my ex are split up. I've been trying to find a house, a place to live, because I had to move with my mom. Maybe another 2 months or so.
I don't know. Okay, what about 1 month? What about if we set you for March the 11th?
I can try. I mean, I'm on unemployment, so my money's kind of in right now.
Okay, well, we're going to reset you for March the 11th,
Okay.
and you can come back and, discuss it with the judge, okay?
Okay.
So March the 11th at 9 o'clock, and this is the only notice that you will get,
Okay.
okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does he not qualify for it?
Mr. Farrer, can you hear me? Mr. Farrer, can you hear me? Can you raise your hand if you hear me? Mr. Farrer, do you hear me? He's talking, but I don't know.
Okay, now here's.
Okay, so you can hear me? He's not muted.
Unmuted.
It's not muted. Do you have a microphone on your device you're using? Okay. Okay, what do I do with them? Can you unmute your device? Okay, we'll see if we can. I am Mr. Farrer.
Hey Patty, I know on cell phones, there's multiple audio options. Maybe try, if this doesn't work out, having him log off and then log back in and select the other audio option.
Mr. Farrer, can you hear me now? Okay, do you want to try to log off and then log back on? And then we'll call your case in just a minute. Can you nod your head? Okay. We're going to see if we can get Miss McQuarrie. Miss McQuarrie, if you can hear me, can you, okay, there you are. Thank you. Okay. I'm Patty Taberham, the criminal court coordinator. Judge Martin has been called away for a few minutes this morning. So we are going to go ahead and discuss your case. Have you been able to retain an attorney?
I have, and I just got him paid last week, and he was scheduled to be out of town today, and he asked if we could reschedule.
Okay, and who did you retain?
Paul Johnson,
And where is he located?
Dallas.
Dallas, okay. Okay, we're going to reset your case for arraignment on March the 11th.
Okay.
This will be the only notice you get. I will send him a notice of setting so he is aware of your upcoming, so on March the 11th.
March the 11th at what time?
At 9 o'clock, and it will also be on Zoom.
Okay, and so my question is, will he just log in with the login ID as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. March
the 11th at 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Let's see if we find Mr. Furr again.
There's Mr. Key and Mr. Sanders.
Okay. Okay, it looks like Mr. Furr is trying to connect.
Yeah.
Mr. Furr, can you hear me now?
Sanders has other things to the jail, so.
Patty, just to let you know as well, Mr. McKee is in with Jeff Sanders.
Okay, thank you.
This one. Which you.
Okay, let's see if we get. Mr. Furr, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Turn up his volume, or maybe his volume or speakers need to be turned up. Sometimes people don't turn it up.
Do you think, uh-oh, we lost him. Oh, he's back. He's gone again.
Hey, Patty, Chrissy from A Cindy just emailed and said that Jeff Furr is in her office. They can hear us, but they can't figure out how to talk to us.
Okay.
Is there a number he can call in?
Yes. Let me get Waynette to give that to A Cindy, and then we'll do it. Okay, Mr. Furr and A Cindy, Ms. Barker is going to call and give y'all the telephone number to call in to Zoom, and maybe we can do it that way. Mr. Sanders, if you'll go ahead and unmute, we're going to talk to y'all.
Okay, all right.
All right. Mr. Key?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Patty Taberham, the criminal court coordinator, and Judge Martin has been called away this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Waddell needs to see you over in probation this morning. And then if you can reappear this afternoon at 1:30, then Judge.
Reappear this afternoon at 1:30?
But go over to probation and see Mr. Waddell before then, okay?
Okay, is there a problem? Is there some kind of problem?
I don't know, but he'll be over there.
Because this monitor's been doing weird stuff on my leg.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what he's wanting to check is about your monitor.
Okay.
Okay, and then you'll reappear this afternoon at 1:30. You can come up here to that same room that you're in, and we will.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Judge Patty.
Patty,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to transfer to the courtroom phone and then that way just pick up.
Okay. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
I'll give Mr. Perry the phone.
Okay.
Hello.
Good morning. I'm Patty Taberham, the criminal court coordinator, and Judge Martin was called away this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to go ahead with talking to you about, have you been able to retain an attorney?
I haven't actually retained him. I've got the money to do it, and I talked to Kurt Knoll, and then and I called the office the other day, and they went up on the price a little bit, but I got the money to do it. And I plan on doing it like today or tomorrow. And go ahead and pay him, and go ahead and set that up.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and reset you for March the 11th at 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
This will be the only notice you get, but I will send Mr. Knoll a notice so he knows that you will be set for arraignment on March the 11th.
All righty.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Cindy.
Cindy.
Oh, Cindy.
Cindy Davis. Hey, Cindy is just where she comes.
Okay, I'm trying to get Sean Kuntz. Well, he was here a minute ago. Oh, there he is. Mr. Kuntz, can you hear me? I feel like the Verizon person. Can you hear me now? Mr. Kuntz? I see somebody in a dark room. Mr. Kuntz, can you hear me? No? Then how do you know I'm talking?
Did he unmute his device?
Mr. Kuntz, can you turn the volume up maybe on your phone? I can barely see you. It's like the room's really, really dark or something. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm asking you to unmute. Let's see if that works. Can you unmute your device? Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Patty Taberham, the criminal court coordinator. Judge Martin was called away this morning. So we're going to go ahead and discuss your case. Have you been able to retain an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who have you
Or
retained?
no, ma'am. I talked to him this morning. I talked to Mr. Buck Files from Tyler,
Yes, sir.
and he's gonna take my case. He's gonna take my case.
Okay. All right. We're going to reset you for March the 11th for arraignment. This will be the only notice you get. I will send Mr. Files a notice of hearing so he knows that you're set for arraignment on March the 11th. And so we will see you back that day, okay?
Yes, ma'am. March the 11th.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Okay, Hillary, do y'all see anybody else?
I think that's it, other than Casey's people.
Yeah, and I think we're all gonna appear at the 1:30, and then we'll have Key back at 1:30.
Did all of Mr. Adams's cases get reset this afternoon as well?
Mr. Adams had Savannah Toon, who is a plea, and we're going to set that for Thursday afternoon.
Okay, that's fine.
He already was coming on that day, and he could not come back this afternoon, so.
Ms. Taberham, do you know how Mr. Ashmore plans to handle the logistics of the divine plea this afternoon?
We have a request in with Hunt County to do a Zoom with us at 4 o'clock. He was planning on doing his other pleas and then going to Hunt County.
Okay.
So as long as Hunt County can help us facilitate the Zoom with them, we should be able to get it worked out this afternoon.
At 4, okay, I'll just let our victim know. Thank you.
Okay.
So Patty, you have 4 people still in the waiting room?
Okay, hang on just a minute then, y'all.
Candace Munoz, Robert Yates, Judy Kuntz Alphen, and then another person named Judy?
See, we don't have a Judy Alphen. I saw that name earlier.
I see Robert Yates. He appears to be Casey Ashmore's.
Yes, and I text Casey to see.
Munoz is also Mr. Ashmore's client.
Okay. And then
let me call Casey real fast and see if he wants to phone or hang on just a sec.
Hillary, do you know who the other 2 people are?
Candace Munoz is his client, and then who were the other 2 names?
Judy Kuntz Alphen, and then the other person is labeled just Judy.
I don't know who that is. Is it the same spelling as Sean Kuntz?
I wonder if Mr. Kuntz is in multiple times.
Yeah.
No, because I know who Mr. Kuntz's wife is, and so That doesn't reference her name.
Yeah, I don't recognize that name.
Well, we'll just bring her in and ask her.
Okay.
I've got a call into KC, so we'll see. Good morning, Judy. Can you hear me?
I tried to pull up the other Judy for you, Patty, but I don't see, they're not somebody that's listed.
Good morning. Miss Judy, can you hear me? I can just barely see the top of your head. Can you move your device down a little? Miss Judy, can you hear me? Can you raise your hand? Miss Judy, I've asked you to unmute your device. You should be getting a little prompt that says unmute device. Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you state your name for me?
Yes, ma'am. Judy Kuntz-Alphen.
Okay. I don't show you on the docket for today. Were you?
What it is I am on the bail bonds for Sean Taylor Kuntz. And I got a letter from that said that I could watch the Zoom. I don't want to be on the Zoom. Am I making sense?
Okay.
So what do I
all
need
right.
to do?
We've already heard his case and we've reset him for March the 11th.
Okay.
He has retained an attorney now. And so we will have him back on March the 11th at 9 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. All right, well, let me see if I can get a hold of Mr. Ashmore. Okay, just a minute. I've got a hold of Mr. Ashmore, so we'll see. Okay, Casey is on his way back up here to the courtroom, so we will finish up with Munoz and Yates in just a minute.
Thank you.
Hey Patty, you'll have to open up the camera there in front of you.
Okay.
Okay.
Hillary,